think they probably are well aware that there is something here. They can tell by the pollution surrounding Earth, among other things. And they know we're here, but why bother with a warlike, relatively immature species? I think that's probably what's going on.
Yeah, they see a big smoky ball in the universe.
Why do you think they bother, Moonsong?
I think they, as we all say, they're already here. Okay?
Do you think they're looking after us, that they're benevolent in some way?
I think all these speculation about what is the first contact or case is going to be like, it's all speculation, imagination. It's already happening. It's happening every day. I'll just quote one example. Okay?
Why are they doing it?
They're talking about the communication problem. No, they don't have any communication problem. One of the case, Billy Meyer's case, the one with the most evidence.
Why are they doing it?
They speak 72 languages of ours.
Yeah, okay. Why? Why do they bother?
That's why they don't want to bother us. They don't want to interfere our own development, except they want to warn us that you're going to kill yourself and your civilization is going to go, and you're going to start all over again like the Mu and Lemmu.
We already know
that. That's like in a movie. That's like in a movie.
Now,
there's a movie with the same theme.
Anthropologists, we have Mu and the Atlantis history, and there are actually evidence on that. And why are we putting it away? Their civilization fell down before.
Well, we human beings may well destroy ourselves. I think there's an excellent chance of it. But then I'd say, so what? We're in a universe far beyond us. Why would they want to warn us? Why bother?
Because out of brotherhood.
Yeah, that's where I
out
disagree.
Of love. Well, you can assume they're negative. How come you can't assume they're positive?
Okay, if you say they're here, Moon, would you say that
they're here every day happening?
In fact, it's God that's here. That's God. You can trace it to God.
I would say most of them are higher beings. I don't want to say God or not God because it's very Western, and you try to put an powerful entity in among us. This is too far away from what we're talking about here. They're just human species, society, more advanced than us, somewhere between God and humanity on Earth. There's many grays, it's not just black and white. It's either God or man. It's many in between. That's one of the concepts we want to put in too.
Philip Hazley, you're still there?
I sure am.
Yeah. What sort of concrete steps should we be doing? What do you think that governments on Earth should be doing, or thinkers should be preparing? I think Stephen Davis, didn't he, has been delegated to be a scientist who might meet aliens, and he's been thinking about what to say to them and things like that. What do you think should be the greeting?
Well, that's a question that I think is something that ought to come from a higher power than me. But I do think that in relative to Stephen Hawking's proclamation that we should be worried about their possible hostility or their unintended effects upon us, I think the one thing that we can hope could come out of it would be simply a growth as a species. We have been stuck for the better part of at least 10,000 years in a pattern of, I guess you call it internecine warfare and parochial concerns. And, this would be the greatest of all possible challenges, to us as a species to grow. And if for no other reason, I would reject what Stephen Hawking has to say simply because it's time for the human species to grow up and take a challenge. And that's what I think this would offer us. So the greeting might be, in this case, well, you're here. Let's see what we can make of ourselves now that we know about you.
Okay, so it's all about us, really.
It's all about us. And basically, it's going to always be about us and our reactions to them. It's going to, because we're a very self-centered, egotistical species. And this may actually be the opportunity to become something more than that, over time.
Except I'd want to add one thing. I think the biggest shock is going to be realizing our own utter ignorance when we human beings realize how really silly we are and how immature we are in comparison to other beings, that's going to be an extraordinary shock.
How are we immature and silly?
We're immature and silly simply in the evolutionary movement we've had. We are, after all, a very tiny sliver of history away from being hunter-gatherers, away from really being animals. We are very, very at the very start of this evolutionary process, and we might destroy ourselves before we go any farther. Certainly, if alien species can contact us, they would almost inevitably be far more technologically advanced than we are, probably advanced in wisdom, although that's a question we can't know yet, and that's the whole question we're talking about today.
We've had another email from Thomas, just to summarise what he says. He says this whole conversation is a complete waste of time. Stephen Hughes, you're a skeptic. Do you think that such conversations are a waste of time, or do you think that there is some point in preparing ourselves one way or another for this first encounter?
I don't know really what to say about it. It's just, well, it's certainly interesting discussions.
But they have some value, do you think?
What's that, sorry?
Do they have some value?
Didn't quite hear.
Do they have some value?
Well, it's interesting to discuss these things, I think.
But you still remain a skeptic. You just can't buy the idea that there could be other people out there.
Oh, no, I can. Because my view is that with all this talk about, encounters and other things, and also trying to detect signals from outer space with SETI, that at the moment there is no evidence of a civilization nearby. That's different from saying that there aren't any. I just don't think that the evidence actually supports that at the moment.
Moonfeng, do you think that there's a case for us trying to hide a little bit? That we should be careful what kind of image we're projecting and maybe keep a lower profile?
What do you mean hide a little bit?
Well, be careful about what sort of message we're sending out into space, for example.
I think they're here every day. There's no need to send anything. They know so much about us. Now, let me just close the second half of Stephen Greer's statement, which is pretty close to ours. Now, the second half, continue from what I said last time. Okay, if aliens were hostile, since ETs are already visiting Earth, and this would have been made crystal clear that when we blow off the first atomic weapon in 1945. Now, to date, no place on Earth has been invaded or attacked or colonized. They're here, and we're still safe.
And we're still safe, so that's a good sign. Okay, we got a caller on the line now, Dan. Hi, Dan.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Fascinating discussion. I have to say, I've been a fan of science fiction since I was a little kid and saw the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still. I think I was 6 years old, and love science fiction, love the idea that there might be aliens out there. The reality is there's absolutely no proof of that, and I would say to those who say there are aliens or that they've met them, simply prove it. And it's a bit presumptuous on Stephen Hawking's part or anyone else to assume there are aliens when there's no proof.
Yeah, I think Stephen Hawking's argument is just from probability, really, that we're discovering more and more planets. We're discovering planets for a start. It's likely that some of those will have conditions similar to Earth, and the chances are, that if life could evolve here, it could evolve in elsewhere.
Well, but despite all of our searching, there's not a shred of evidence, including all of the efforts with SETI, the search for extraterrestrial life. Daily, we broadcast megawatts and megabytes, gigabytes, terabytes of data into space from our satellite systems to our satellite systems that goes out into space. And we haven't heard any answers. We haven't gotten any contact that's provable. Of course, anyone can make a statement that says, gosh, I met an alien, or I believe there's aliens, and you're entitled to that belief. I think a rational person would say, okay, fine. If that's true, then prove it. Show us.
Is it worth keep trying? We haven't been trying for very long in the grand scheme of things. Is it time to give up?
Oh, whether it's worth it or not, in terms of priorities, I would have to say probably not. I think there's other ways we could spend the money and our efforts and our time.
So we are alone. You think we are alone?